Okay.
All right. Hello. Welcome everyone to the second episode today of our one shot show. Today we are going to have the episode type as tool audit. So, which is where we go in, test out different toolings for a similar type of workflow. And today we are going to show you the repurposing architecture or repurposing workflow where we are going to repurpose a newsletter into different social media posts. And the tools we are going to pick today is basically Google Opal and how does it compare with n8n or make.com. So the idea of this particular episode is to show you like there are different ways now to leverage AI and use AI to build automation workflows. There is one way which is basically AI generating the workflow for you. And then there is another way where human is designing the workflow for you. And how does these tools compare with each other from the costing standpoint, ease of use standpoint, learning curve standpoint? We are going to deep dive all that into today's episode. So I have Window with me. So Window, why not you go ahead and introduce the topic as well as the Google Opal.
Right. Thanks, Dheeraj. As Dheeraj mentioned, so we are going to deep dive on Google Opal, and we are going to learn the whole feature overview, and also how Google Opal can apply into your daily AI stack, as well as like how Google Opal differentiate itself from the closest competitors, which is in this case you could say n8n or make.com. So I think we are going to deep dive on this. So I guess we can get started. So there are a couple of we can start from uh, overview or of how this all makes sense eventually. Uh, so when we get to the how the Google Opal works, which is like showing you how to create a newsletter repurpose engine from by sharing your, let's say, Substack post and generate into like multiple social posts through LinkedIn, Substack, as well as Twitter threads, right? And then, but first we are going to kind of like deep dive in terms of the whole evolutions. So I just want to, is this clear, Diraj? Can you see
Yeah, I think
it?
you can zoom in a bit, Window. Yeah, and yeah, a little more. I think that then it becomes like more readable. Yes, now
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, so I think when we talk about like Google Opal or NHN and Make.com, so we are talking about the difference between AI chatbot and AI automations, which is like you can also do this with AI chatbot, like paste in your newsletter into the chat and then and generate one output LinkedIn post, or you can also like generate all of them. But I feel like in my experience, the result is not that accurate by doing with the chatbot. So and also like there will be like a lot of back and forth if you do
Right.
with chatbot. So I guess you need also to copy paste everything, right?
Absolutely.
So I think doing with the chatbot is takes some time, and and it takes more effort as well. While
Mm.
doing with the AI automations, in this case, you can say Opal, Make.com, and NHN. You can trigger. You can start. You can set up like a workflow where it can trigger from reading your RSS feed, webhook, or like scheduling your newsletter. Let's say every Monday on 8 a.m. Right, and then the trigger will fire, and then from there you set up like a bunch of generation or like mechanism where it takes your newsletter it takes your newsletter content across multiple socials, and AI will repurpose it for you, and eventually you can uh, send the output into Notion, or like you can also publish via API. So you can also connect with tools like Buffer or Typefully, where the the whole automation runs like end to end from
To
the
publish
newsletter
it.
fetching. Yeah, newsletter fetching, and then AI read the newsletter and then repurpose it, and then it goes directly to the LinkedIn, Substack, and and also Twitter threads, right? So that's how it works in general of how the AI automation works. So yeah, I think from this kind of like analogy or like fundamental of how we see the difference between AI chatbot and automation, then I think from here we can go into like understanding how Opal will work in this case.
Right. And just to recap, guys, like for those of you who just joined us, it's basically like we are going to go through this whole development of the workflow through Opal first, Google Opal first, and then like we are going to like show a high level overview of the n8n replica of it, how you can use n8n, and talk about throughout which tool is better for what type of person, what type of role.
Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, how Opal works is really simple. It's like you can just use a plain English. So let's say if you want to create an app to take a support ticket and draft a polite reply, right? Or like in this case, in our specific case, we want to repurpose our newsletter into multiple social posts, then we could say something like create an app for repurposing my newsletter post into Substack, LinkedIn, and Twitter threads. That's it. So you can start by using this plain English, and then the Opal will parse the prompt, and then also like the agent will try to identify the way how this is going to work and generate you the whole workflow. So without you having like to need to understand the input, what sort of the input, and then like how the generation or like the mechanism works, and what sort of the output that you want to deliver for. So it's really easy. We can just use this plain English and then let Opal do its work. So yeah, in general, like the way this AI automation works is you receive it starts from the user input and then the AI model will generate and it will generate to the output, right? So there are multiple outputs. We will learn about this later on. You can also generate the output into Google Docs, Google Slide, HTML layout, and I think those kind of like options for the output. And since Google Opal is built by Google, so the AI models only limited to on the Google AI model, which is Gemini for text, Imagine, and as well as the Nano Banana Pro, basically, and Veo 3 for video, and some of other tools like web search, web fetch. Web search is basically you can ask the Google to run web search. Web fetch is to ask the Google to fetching the content on your website. So basically you can chain all of these together. So you can like have this multiple AI workflow that does one thing and then give the output to another AI models and then give the output another AI model. So one of like the interesting that or one of the interesting case that you can do as well. So if you want to generate a thumbnail for your newsletter, right? Then you can paste it in your newsletter post, and then Gemini will read the newsletter post, and it will create a prompt, and the prompt will be delivered to the Nano Banana Pro, and Nano Banana Pro will generate you the thumbnail. So that's kind of like the automation that you can do with Google.
So, Window, here one question. How specific the user prompt should be in this case? I know like you are going to just demo it, but like how much effort do we have to spend in to define the user prompt? Does it
Yeah,
automatically figure out, for example, LinkedIn character limit or Twitter character
right.
limit, or we have to specify here?
So yeah, good question. The good thing is the good thing is previously you need to very detail in terms of like generating the prompt. So let's say if you want to generate a LinkedIn post, then you need to be very detailed, right? But right now, so they just launched a new feature which is called Agent. So with Agent, you can just simply use like again a plain English or like a simple prompt, and the agent will figure out itself on how to generate the prompt and yeah, eventually uh, how to use tools that are available inside of
Okay.
Google Opal to
Okay.
achieve your goals. So it's
Okay.
way smarter and also like way simpler as well. compared to the previous feature where we only have the Gemini and that's it. The prompt, we need to get the prompt right and it
Right.
will translate the
Right.
prompt. But now the agent can do all of this.
Perfect. So, guys, like right now, what you are going to see is like where AI is helping you even create a workflow with natural language, right? So, this is something AI helping you define and uh, draft the AI automation for you. Later in the session, we are going to see how human does it with n8n and make.com. So that's the difference, basic difference between when it comes to n8n or make platform versus something like Google Opal.
Right, right. Yeah. And yeah, once so the good thing is with this Opal thing, once your workflow done, then you can publish your workflow with one click, and you can share your workflow with any people or like with your friends or like with your team. So basically, if you let's say if you have a team, let's say if you work in marketing, then all of the team inside your marketing team will be able to run this workflow. So you can say this like you build like one workflow once and you can use it like multiple times and across many teams in your company basically. So I think that's the good thing with Google Opal because like you don't need to do this multiple times with by chatting through a chatbot,
Right.
but
Especially
you
like
can just share the link
right,
and
especially
run it through people. Yeah.
right, especially if you are in like Google Workspace, it like holistically gets very much integrated into your entire team.
Right. Yeah. It's way easier. And also like it will store into your Google Drive. So you can access it. The output will be stored to your Google Drive and you can access it anytime. And if you are using the same Google Drive, then yeah, it's really easy to basically just share this to your team and then your team can see the results.
Perfect.
So
Let's go
yeah,
ahead.
one last thing before we go to the sharing screen and show you how this works. So I created some kind of like comparison, like a quick one, but we'll go through this later on after we run through the Google Opal, and we also will have some takes as well from Dheeraj where he has experience on the n8n and how this will differentiate basically. But in some case, yeah, but in overview, Google Opal is basically free. You can do this or like but it's a but there are limitation on the top tier model. So if you want to use like a Gemini 3.1, then there is limitation if you use the free plan. But if you pay for $20 for Gemini, then you can get the Gemini 3.1 with more
Okay.
access towards it. While make.com, yeah, takes you like $9 per month, while and I can $20. But if you can do like self host where you don't need to pay anything.
Right.
But yeah, uh, yeah, but in general, basically, Google Opal is limited only for the AI inside of Google, which is Gemini, Vio, and everything. But make.com and I you can do so much thing because you can connect with OpenAI, you can connect with Anthropic, you can connect with Grok, and as well as Gemini. And also like the output, you can also generate the output into Notion, into Drive, into many outputs basically. Or like you can connect to I think like Asana or like Trello as
Yeah.
well as a
Yeah.
part of the output. Yeah.
Right. And if you
Which
don't
is the
have
same
like
as an
yeah,
account.
if you don't have any connection, then like you can always have n8n or make.com to make HTTP calls to connect to any system that offers REST APIs.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think we can do deep dive on this later on, but I guess
Yes.
we can just start it to show you on how to build the newsletter repurpose engine and some like a feature deep dive. But so I have like multiple awful workflow. So from infographic explainer, competitor intelligence, there is also like newsletter repurposing, and there is also like a YouTube podcast summarizer. So what I did was that I can just share the YouTube podcast that I basically listen, and then the AI will summarize it, and the AI will generate the output into HTML with proper design. So I can see like a proper what is the podcast about and what are the main talking points, what are the thought provoking talking points, and those kind of stuff. So yeah, basically like the limit is your imagination.
Yes.
You can do so much thing with Opal, and yeah, we can start from, let's say, yeah, we can just start new. And basically, yeah, the good thing is, as I mentioned earlier, you can just simply describe what you want to build, or you can also do this like a user input. There is also generate an output, as I mentioned earlier. So all of the workflow is basically consists of these uh, three nodes. I would say like a visual workflow that consists of these three. There is a user input where the input that you want to have, which is in this case there are options, any audio, image, text, or upload file as well as video. So you can just use this as an input, and from there you need to basically uh, connected to the generate, which is generate is where the AI will do its job. So you can see the generate is there are multiple AI models as I mentioned earlier. So there is this agent, which is this is the new feature, and there is Gemini 3 Flash, Gemini 3.1 Pro, which is this one is for Pro plan if you use Gemini. This is also Nano Banana Pro audio LM for speech, Theo for video, Lyria for music. So you can select all of this, and and from there you need also to connect it to the output. Then you can generate the output into like into like these options, which is like you can generate a web page, HTML web page with layout, save to Google Docs, save to Slides, save to Google Sheets. So these are the outputs that are available.
So right now the content would get stored in the form of text. But like, is there a way to publish as well as like to LinkedIn or let's suppose Twitter?
Yeah. So currently no. So you cannot directly publish to the LinkedIn or
Okay.
directly to the API. So I think this is kind of like the limitation with Google Opal compared to Make.com and n8n, because like
Okay.
those two tools you can connect directly through API, so you can do this end-to-end workflow directly. But since like yeah, this is a kind of like the problem, I guess, like maybe the limitations. You can only do this here,
Okay.
and you can save it to the docs, and then you can paste it into the LinkedIn manually, I guess. So yeah, but I think the main comparison with Make.com and n8n is basically is how easy it is to use. So
Yeah.
as you can see, like you can just simply has this user input. You can select the models and output. While if you use Make.com, I know, Dheeraj, like
Yep.
this is those tools are really hard to understand. You
Right.
need to understand like JSON. You need to understand some settings or variables that you need to take into account into when you create an AI automation workflow. But this is like very easy. Yeah, there is nothing like complex in this workflow, so you can just run this very easy, and then you can tweak it and yeah, make it run automatically.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we can just start from like we don't need this. We can just describe what we want. So I would just say, help me to build a newsletter repurpose engine uh, where you take my newsletter post and generate into LinkedIn, Substack, as well as Twitter threads.
So you just put your thoughts in.
Yeah, I just put my
Right.
thoughts in, and then that's it. And the agent will do its work and will try the how it will interpret whatever I just said into like
Okay.
AI automations
Okay.
workflow that you
So
can run very easy.
So what I'm seeing a window over here is that in comparison to other tools, this could be like a very quick prototyping kind of a tool where you want to like quickly test out your idea, maybe as like a product manager, maybe as like a business solopreneur, right? You want to test out a quick idea. You can just come in, speak about your context and just give it to Google Opal, and it is going to at least test out what kind of output you can get, how the overall functionality is working. That's what, like, I think I'm seeing this.
Yes, it's pretty fast because like you can just prototype this and then you can do so much more. But yeah, it's way easier to do this compared to like doing this with make.com or n8n basically.
Mhm.
So as you can see here, uh, as you can see here, so it creates so I can just, okay. So as you can see here, the mid screen is basically the workflow, and then the right screen is basically the UI. So this is like the good thing with Opal. So you have like a proper UI that you can use. Basically, let's start, right. So let's start. Basically, it allows me to basically send the inputs, whether it is newsletter post or in text, or like whether it is, so there are multiple inputs, right? Whether it is uploading from device, YouTube video, add drawing, or like add a webcam video as well. So it can do this. But in this case, what we can do is basically just go to my newsletter and then just simply fetch my newsletter post here and let it run. So yeah, it's very simple. There is like a UI that is generated. So it's so you don't have, if you use like make.com or n8n, it's really hard to basically use the whole node. This is like very easy. There is a UI, and then you just paste in your user purpose, and then the AI will do its job
Okay.
automatically. Yeah.
So that's where the key difference is also, right? There, the learning
Yes.
curve is there with other platforms.
Yes. There is huge learning curve, but
And
for
I'm going to show it
policy,
window, like how it compares, like how this kind of
right?
workflow would compare with our
Totally,
yeah, totally different. I'm going to like compare it like
totally different.
notes after you show this.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we are still in process, but I will just show you the process quick. Yeah. So this one, right? So this is the input. The yellow is the input, and then it will send the input to the generate, which is in this case the agent. So you can see here the agent, right? So what the main difference with the agent compared to Gemini, 3 Plus, and so on, right? So the agent will select which of tools that suitable for this type of workflow, basically. So you don't have to think, you don't have to select all of this workflow. You can just
Okay.
select agent, and agent will
Figure it out.
will figure it out itself. Because so this is option for generate with
That's
AI, but also like uh Opal has also feature to get weather, to search web, to get web page, to search maps, also like
okay.
use memory, as well
Okay.
as but with agent, so the agent will do all of this. You don't have to put this inside of the workflow, so the agent will figure it out. So I guess that's like the major the major feature upgrades from Opal recently, where previously I need to I need to
Select.
tell the agent basically you need to get from this letter post, and you need to search website and so on, right? Which is takes
Okay.
time. But now the agent can do all of this work, and and then generate the whole workflow.
So right now it's still processing what we have requested it.
Yeah, the result is here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Where is
So basically, these codes that it is showing, and this is what the output looks like. That's what it is saying.
Yeah, this is how the output looks like, because the output is using the HTML as the output.
Okay.
So when the AI agent generate the repurpose my newsletter post, then it generates like a HTML layout, which is using this. Yeah, you can see the result right here. This is the LinkedIn strategy, the LinkedIn post. This is like the Substack. Uh, this is like the viral thread. But the problem is, this is like, I think you will find this problem. The problem is the result is just like not good, not really good,
Right.
because like when you try to repurpose with LinkedIn, then you need to understand how LinkedIn works,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And when on Substack, then you need to understand like how Substack notes working. And
Right.
when you
Right.
try to do viral thread on X, then you need to understand how you create a good hook and then create multiple threads, right?
Right.
So
Right. So I
so
think, and
that's why.
in the chat itself, Anfernee also suggested that he is using it from the perspective that, okay, for each and every platform, it's better to create like one Opal workflow, so that the output is like very targeted over there, and maybe like the definition of the prompt needs to be better, and all those
Yeah,
insights about like I need a hook, I need some sort of like a queue line, then the output should be like this. All that needs to be communicated in the prompt, maybe.
right. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's true. That's why that's where the real work happens, right? Because like we just prototype this very easy, and we just say like, hey, generate this Saturn repurpose engine, and this is what happens, right? It's too simple. It also doesn't capture what we really want. But
Mhm.
at least like we get the whole kind of like the
Test out.
overview, or like how this works. Yeah, the test out, the maybe like the zero version or like 0.5 version of this before we can make it live.
Right.
So at least we get to know this. But for sure, this is still far away from the proper newsletter purpose engine. So that's why another work is basically come to us to generate this multiple times and refine this until we get what we want, which is I will share you my newsletter repurpose flow, which is I already created. So it looks like this. So as you can see, there are like, so this is the newsletter input, and we have this LinkedIn post. So the newsletter, the input will start from list from this, and then the input will trigger into these three different module or like nodes, where each node will have its own prompt basically. So you, as you can see here, this is the LinkedIn post, right? So I have like long prompt on this for the LinkedIn post, and this is the Substack notes.
Okay.
I have this prompt like you are an expert
Mm.
Substack notes
Right.
creator. Your job transform one newsletter post into 10 strategic Substack notes that feels authentic and so on. So you can see here, this is like very long prompt, and this is also Twitter thread. So all
Similarly.
of this is basic. Yeah, all of this is basically compact into one workflow. But
Yep.
from the newsletter input, it kind of like expand into these three AI that does its job specifically.
Right.
And then the output is going to deliver into Google Docs that we can see
Okay.
later on. But also like so there is so you basically can like if you just build this LinkedIn post, Substack notes, and Twitter thread, and then you generate the Google Docs. That's it. You can also like
Sure.
finish it this as well, but you can also add another workflow. So in this case, I just added another workflow, which is a hook generator.
Okay.
So this prompt is basically using the output of this LinkedIn post and apply the 11
Okay.
hook framework that I have right now. So I have
Okay.
like different hook format, which is most powerful, big number versus small numbers, the call out secret, struggle, how to believe flip, and so on, right? So what it does is basically using the LinkedIn post on here and use this hook framework and generate the final refinement of my LinkedIn post into the Google Docs.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how how customized it is
You can.
for you to basically, yeah, you can also add like another editor, a workflow where it will edit your output of Substack notes, and
Mhm.
maybe you want to you want to remove the AI generated writing, or you want to remove the rhetoric that, that basically AI typically use, like it's not X, it's Y, those kind of like
Right.
rhetoric. So
Right.
you can add all of those in here. But
Interesting.
for in this case, I just use the hook as the additional workflow, and then it will generate the Google Docs, which
Okay.
is
Okay.
which is this case. This is like the results. You can see the Substack nodes here, which is 10 Substack nodes, and this
Okay.
is the Twitter thread. There are so the workflow that I have, it generates 3 Twitter threads, and these are the Twitter threads. There is the old versus new. There is listicle. There is what, how, and why. So, and this is the LinkedIn post. So you can see here,
Okay.
this is the LinkedIn post. Uh, uh, yeah, which is using this hook. So the hook is already optimized. I
Right.
used to think AI was for getting fast answer, but I found it's far better at destroying my flow assumptions. Which is this is the typical hook, LinkedIn post hook, right?
Right. Right.
So
Two
people would
lines.
click the see more, 2 lines,
Right.
and people would click the see more, and then you can see this is the whole post basically.
Right. Right. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
it's basically the one shot thing that we did earlier is not really up to the mark right now, right? The
right.
agent
Yeah,
working and creating the workflow for you. But still, I would say that if you have to go at the lens of building it in this kind of a workflow manner, which is more customized as well as, and Anfernee was also talking about like one Opal workflow for one type of output, and then it provides better results. There is a customization on the model that you want to use. Agent at that moment, I saw that used 2.5 flash model, which might have also affected the quality of it as well. Uh, but still, I would say that it is more towards from the perspective that you can quickly prototype it without much learning curve of it, because I'm not seeing
right.
like too many things over here that would confuse me as a user, and I'm just getting an output just to get a feel of whether my prompts are working or not, whether structure is there or not. So I'm seeing it like for quick prototypes, for product managers, validating the concepts. It seems like a free platform that they can tinker with without any kind of learning curve,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
I may share the screen window now and show like a
yeah,
quick comparison of how a similar workflow would look like in terms of n8n. So let me share my screen, right? Can see it, right?
yeah.
Okay. So this is basically how it would look like in, like, it's again, a smart content multiplication system or repurposing system
Whi-
where,
Which is yeah, this is like really complex basically.
yeah, you can see that like how complex it has gone. Of course, like I ended up making it complex, could have made it simpler as well. But like it does the job in terms of it will fetch it any URL, it will fetch, which is could be like your newsletter URL, could be a Notion page, could be you can pass Markdown. It is connected through a webhook, which also feel that in the case of Opal, that might not be possible as well, right? That you cannot have like some sort of an external integration. This way, if I have like a content webhook, I can basically call it through my content pipeline with Claude, and it would run it for me. And then like it's all about normalizing content. Similar thing that Opal figure it out itself behind the scenes. It's basically also kind of doing from the perspective that it is building the platform queue. So it is figuring out that, okay, what all platforms I need to create. It is creating those platform specific prompts, and then a quality gate, as you were talking about the brand voice and all,
Right,
how the process quality looks like. Once it passes the quality, then it goes either through revision or final output, and then it spits out the output for each and every platform. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Substack, email,
right,
YouTube, code summary. So I mean, but in order to do this, you would have to go through and learn a lot of things about n8n. And if you are on n8n cloud, they have provided this chat now. Like you can basically, if you are paying 24 dollars a month, then in that case you get the feature of like AI, where AI is building the workflow for you. So then it becomes similar to Google Opal, because that's the basic difference. The Google Opal is more like a human is just narrating what he or she wants, and Google Opal is figuring out itself and creating that workflow for you, the automation for you. In this case, this whole workflow is developed by a human, which is me, for example, right? And in
Right.
case you want to do it, you will have to figure out what is a webhook node, how code node works, how HTTP node works, right? So
Yeah.
you have to go through that learning curve for both make.com as well as n8n. But then it provides you like a one place, a shop where uh, you can either integrate your workflows, or you can have like advanced things, like for example, in either just in one workflow everything is like fully automated, and then you can connect different nodes over here for LinkedIn, Twitter, right? You whatever output is there, and you can just publish it from here itself. So end to end flow would get created, and it is visual, but again human is creating it. For those of you who do not want human to create, like you want like some sort of a first pass or first draft of a workflow, you can opt for n8n cloud version as well, or otherwise you can configure the n8n MCP with the Claude Code, so that Claude Code can create the workflows. Nowadays, like I, even though like I published the entire course, but like I don't anymore create workflows of n8n myself. It's just Claude Code connected with MCP, creating the workflow in plain simple English. It's so powerful that now, I mean, I would say like I just talk to Claude Code even to test it out. I just provide it like all the verification scenarios. It just keeps on running on my system. Again, the limitation is that because it's my platform, I am self-hosting it. I have given access to everything, so it is able to do it. On n8n cloud, you won't be able to do that, right? Unless like the limited MCP is there for n8n cloud, which is like just 5 workflows. So there are ways to get to the natural language with n8n, but again, you need some sort of a technicality, some sort of know-how. There is a learning curve aspect for sure, which is steep in case of n8n. And in Google Opal, I can see that it's pretty straightforward. You just open up, especially if you are using Google tools or in Google ecosystem, it is quickly going to turn your thought into a process workflow, which you can validate. And then, of course, I don't see window that it is going to go into production unless until like it's like one off thing of generating a infographic or generating like a
Right.
image. Otherwise, you may end up using something else as well to publish the newsletter post. For example, maybe n8n or make the simplified output can be published from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I feel like the gap is so wide, basically, compared to Opal. While, yeah, on Anakin, you need to figure out yourself. You need to learn everything in terms of the notes and technicality behind it. While with Opal, yeah, it's so simple, but also like, even it's so simple, also like, the control, or like the control is not as big as n8n or make.com. So I have, yeah, I think I can share quick one for the whole comparison, basically. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, the n8n, you can do n8n free with self host, but typically price is $20 per month, while make.com
It's
is 9,
24.
while
It's
24.
it's generally
Yeah,
24, yeah. Because
yeah,
20 is like when you pay the annual plan, then it becomes 20. Otherwise, you end up paying 24.
right. Yeah, yeah. While so the build method with Opal is natural language, while make.com drag and drop for Anakin with code and node based canvas. What the trigger model for Opal is still manual. This is
Manual.
kind of like limitation. But make.com you can use webhook and everything. The Anakin also you can use webhook event and also cron job as well. The branching logic, yeah, you use the AI generated, but make.com, it has like a router, if
Right.
else, and yeah, it has more like capabilities
More
basically.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, more control. And for the AI capability, yeah, for Opal is limited with Google, but for make.com is yeah, you can use
So many
multiple
things.
AI. Yeah, and also like you can also run sequential HTTP modules as well.
Right.
But in Opal, because the whole workflow is built around AI, so that's why you can do this with plain
Right.
English, and the agent will do its work. While with make.com, you need to connect everything with AI module, and each of module will have its own goal.
Right.
So it will for sure like it takes more effort and work to finally get it into production and have this final output that you really want. And for Opal, the integration is deep native in Google. There is no webhook. Make.com full support with everything, and n8n as well. So yeah, more win for the
Yep.
make.com and n8n. And the deployment, I think Opal is winning here because like you can
Yes.
just share the URL, and also remix. Remix is, I think, quite uh, impactful because like you can just uh, copy everything from other people and then remix it.
Reuse. Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, and the end user app, yes, you have this UI that I show you earlier. The UI you can just type in the UI, but for make.com, like you need to build the UI.
Yes.
So it's not like really easy to build, like to use whatever that you build on make.com or n8n. So, but yeah, for target audience, for sure, like Opal is zero coding, while make.com low, some logic, and I can medium, maybe JavaScript helps. Uh, but yeah, as you can see, the Opal for non-technical, but for make.com is more like middle, I guess. You
Right.
you somehow you somehow not you somehow quite comfortable with the technical.
Right.
But if you want to go full technical, then you go to n8n
Anything.
workflow.
Right. I think it's a very fair comparison as well.
Yeah.
It's just that like make.com versus n8n, if you ask me, and why I choose like last year n8n over make.com is mainly because of the uh, pricing perspective, and I was okay
Right.
to go in technical as well, right? And I wanted to
Yeah.
go technical with code node as well, which was not earlier there in make.com. Now they have introduced the code module as well, where you can put your custom code as well, but the pricing is very complex for make.com. That's what I feel like. Even with that fixed pricing, the steps pricing is there. I don't know, like lately they have changed it or not, but for n8n at least that if you are not self-hosting, you are going to pay like $24 a month or $20 a month on
Right.
annual plan. So that's
Yeah.
like a predictable model with n8n. And I think from the ideal user perspective as well, I see Opal being used more on the prototyping, non-technical or product managers who want to like just validate their ideas quickly and pass it on to the developers, engineers, or maybe like n8n experts or n8n engineers, make.com engineers or their team, so that they can build the entire end to end by using what has been already built in the Opal part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we create a scoring for? So I just create like like a
Huh?
quick scoring for each of these. So I guess like Opal, we could say like the cost is the
Zero.
best thing about Opal, right? Because it's basically free.
Yeah, for
Hello.
output quality. Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What do you think about the Anakin
I
cost and everything?
I think from n8n perspective as well, it's like free probably if you are self-hosting it, and it is not complex to self-host, or at least have a local copy of it. So that way is like from cost angle, n8n wins. Of course, if you want the cloud version, you would want it. If you want to always keep it running, then like for example, I have it hosted on Oracle tier, free tier. It's not costing me anything, but I have to manage my Oracle VM, right? So
Right.
that ways, I think 4 is fair. Make.com 3, of course, like you need to pay for it. Output
Yeah.
quality. I would say like from the output quality it depends what kind you are expecting. Make an n8n is more towards generating the JSONs, or how the structure you would want. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you can you will have to go technical and make sure how the output looks like. For example, HTML you can output, but where will you
Yeah.
host it? So from that
Yeah.
perspective, I think all three plus minuses of each platform, they stand equal. Speed
Yeah.
wise,
Yeah.
Google Opal is there, and learning curve wise, I think that's the key here. Google Opal is just go in, start creating, and start. n8n is there. I mean, like, of course, 2 is fair for it because you
Yeah.
have a steep learning curve of n8n. But once you get that learning curve or get through that learning curve, I believe like it's a fairly good tool to have in your AI automation tool set.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this number is quite, quite fair. Uh, maybe the flexity of like Opal is very low, while the other is basically really good in terms of like
Right.
the flexibility of the control that you
Right.
want, basically. So it's kind of like, yeah, again, I think it at the end of the day, it really depends on you. If you are not really comfortable with technical stuff, then go to Opal. But then if you want to have more control and flexibility, you can go to Make. But if you want more control, also like I think have more flexibility and also like not also comfortable with code, then you go to n8n.
Yeah.
I think
And
the
plus, you want something free. That's like n8n is there. Then,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to self-host it. And I think
right,
like nowadays, Windows, like as I was telling you, with the MCP of n8n, right, it has become very easy now to like just set it up. Of course, there is a setup cost or setup time that you have to invest in order to set up the MCP server, define the rules that you want to go through. But the guy who launched the MCP server for n8n on GitHub, you can just like set it up, and you would be amazed to see like how quickly it becomes your partner of just creating the workflows. Earlier it was suffering. And what I'm also seeing or is that I think n8n has also released recently a module of n8n as code, which would provide the ability to just have Claude Code read the n8n as code, so that it can
right,
understand the structure of the nodes and
right,
becomes like very much integrated into it without the need of the MCP. So I think like probably things are moving in that direction, but fair enough to say that even Claude Code would require some sort of technical understanding in order to set that up initially.
right. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all. Uh,
Yeah.
do
So
you
guys,
guys
yeah,
have any questions?
yeah, please go ahead. That's all we wanted to share today. This was a episode type of our one shot show of tool audit, where we audited n8n, make.com, and Opal, how it fits, what are
Yeah,
advantages, disadvantages of each of them, without any bias towards it, just like plain simple. How I use n8n, how Opal is being used by Window, and sharing our day-to-day experience with these tools. That's the idea
yeah,
of this tool audit type of episodes in our show.
yeah. And last week we talked about the building your content research agent with Cloud Code. And today we just talk about the Google Opal. And next week we are going to talk about the Cloud Cowork. So how you can use Cloud Cowork for research, basically. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the next episode. But yeah, we still have time. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, then we can close this session.
So I'm just scrolling through the chat. It's like Matthew is, so how does this work with Claude Code, or does it add to it? So I think like we more or less answered it. So Google Opal does not work with Claude Code, but n8n you can work with Claude Code by setting up the MCP
Right.
server for it. There is a question. I think there is no other question, just some tips. Yep. Any other
All right.
question, guys? Otherwise, we can close and see you in the next episode next week with Claude Cowork.
Okay. Yeah. Next week we are going to talk about Claude Cowork. So yeah, thanks everyone for
Perfect.
joining.
Thank
I
you,
hope
everyone, for
this
joining.
call is helpful for everyone and you can apply this into your daily workflow, and also like you can apply this into your AI stack as well, and put into account how Google Opal can help you with your workflow, and as well as like connecting them with Gemini. So this is really good if you are already using Gemini, and you can just connect it and with Opal and run your whole workflow inside of Gemini. I think that's how I see it, how it fits into our daily AI workflow.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Have a good day,
Thank you.
all of you. Good
Have a
night.
good day.
Good evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.